Hi, welcome to Sewing Mojo. Today, I'm going to be talking about a sewing machine. This one specifically is a Singer Stylist.
So this is my sewing machine. It's a Singer. It is a little bit of a newer model, and it happens to be my favorite. I do have an older model, but I find that one is harder to move around. So this one comes with a pedal, and then it also comes with this electrical cord. So mine happens to be on the side. So the electrical cord would go right here, and then the pedal would go right here. And then this is the on and off switch. This is what lowers the needle or brings the needle up. So this is good for when I'm turning the fabric. You want to push the needle down, or if I need to redo this bobbin down here to bring this piece of thread up. So this machine has lots of different types of patterns. Lots. And I would just click these two. This one moves up in the 10s, and then this one moves up in the 1s. And then these I don't like to touch because this one controls the stitch length or the pressure on the stitch, and you have to be careful because you can actually break the machine. This part is how fast or how slow I want the maximum speed. So if I'm doing something that's small, I'll probably start off lower, and if I'm doing something big, I might do it faster. So it all depends on what I'm doing. This button can change the needle position. This button is a start and stop. So if something happens and I push the pedal down and I need to stop it, that is a really good button for that. This button is for the back stitch, and as you can see, it's what locks it into place. So mine happens to tell me how to thread the machine. This is gotten a lot common on the machines, but older machines may not have this. So there's one of two ways. Either one, you can look it up online, or two, if you have the manual should contain what your sewing machine needs you to do for threading. On your sewing machine, you'll probably have the spool cap, which prevents the spool from going directly off, and what keeps the spool in place so that way it doesn't move around too much, which can be distracting. So for mine, I would just come up here on this part, flip it around, go around this little guy. So if you have one on your machine, using your nail, you can actually push down, and it makes it easier to loop the thread around. You then bring the thread down on mine, bring it back up. Some machines have this little bar. You want to make sure that the thread is looped around it, like mine, so that way when your thread is going up and down, it won't get caught and have extra thread and break. So then I just come down here, and the eye on this needle is all the way at the bottom. Different sewing machines can be a little bit different, but for the most part, it's all at the bottom. You also want to be careful because while you can replace this, and it can be easy to replace, it also can be hard, and if you break this part, it can cause problems, and you may either have to go to someone to repair it, or you may have to replace your machine. So I then have this foot. My favorite is this clear one because I can see out of it better, and using this little switch in the back, I can lower the foot, or I can bring the foot up. So once I have the fabric in between these, I'm going to lower the foot and then begin sewing. So for mine, it works very specifically that this thread must go in between the crevice and out the bottom. Otherwise, the thread can catch and will sometimes break. Now, this bobbin down here has this little switch on my machine. And it also has instructions. Again, if your machine does not have instructions on it, either look it up online or check the manual. Because the manual can come with lots of tricks and tips and can just all around be very helpful. So for mine, I would just make sure that the bobbin fits the exact direction that it's facing, and then I'm just going to lower the needle down. I oftentimes try and keep either a pin or something in the matter, and once I pull up, because the thread is already out, it's not catching, but it would catch, and I would move, and I would use a little pin, or sometimes I'll use my scissors. I wouldn't really recommend that though, and just pull the thread out. So if you're replacing your bobbin, you want to make sure that you have a little bit of an extra fabric just in case you mess up on the bobbin and it rips on the fabric or something like that happens. So you may have noticed that there's this little part. This part actually helps the machine move the needle. I wouldn't recommend playing around with it too much because if it breaks, then your needle may have a hard time moving side to side. Lastly is this little compartment. So most sewing machines, especially if they're new, have these little hidden compartments on it and can contain different things. So mine have other types of foot, and here we go. So this one happens to be one for buttons. Not all machines can do buttons. Mine just happens to have a function for it. Also, different machines, depending on which one you have, can sometimes come with a little seam rippers. And then I put these in a plastic bag so that way they didn't make as much noise. But then all these different feet. Now the machine typically only comes with one. Sometimes if they have a button, they might come with that. But you can buy little feet either online or at a quilting shop. So yeah, so then I would just slide this back in place, and then it looks as if there was never any hidden compartments in the first place. So yeah, this is my machine. This is a Singer Stylus. It is my personal favorite and is pretty easy to use. It is a newer-ish model, so it has a little bit more tech than other ones. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a little bit about sewing machines from this, and I hope to see you real soon.